Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to talk about the Acebeam Terminator 2. This thing is freaking cool, okay? So, while I am a custom flashlight guy, that's what I like to carry and use and have on me. Checking out cool lights in general is just a lot of fun. And this here is what you would call a cool flashlight. This thing has some awesome features. It has some features I didn't even realize right away until I read the instruction manual. I mean, geez, who does that? But I did it for you guys. I'm just kidding. Anyway, this thing is super cool. So the Acebeam Terminator 2 essentially is a 3-in-1 flashlight. It has a spotlight, it has a floodlight, and then it also has an auxiliary colored light, which you can actually change between, I think, 3 colors. I think they say 7, but I only was seeing 3. But anyway, we'll look at all that. It's an 18650 battery that you can remove. You can charge either with a USB-C or you can just put it in your battery bay and charge it that way if you like. It has a switch to switch between flood and spotlight, but yes, you can use both at the same time, at least on turbo. It's just a really cool light. It has a pocket clip, obviously going to be a little bit large to be carrying, but you know, for those people who like to carry stuff like this, or maybe on a bag, in a bag, really has a lot of good purposes. I think this would be great in a truck, like keep it in my truck, because I get both options depending on what I would need in a scenario. It also has those auxiliary lights where you can do SOS. So it has a lot of features packed into this. It is a little bit of an awkward size, but once you get used to it, it's pretty good, honestly. As long as you're not gonna be maybe using it for super long periods of time or carrying it in your like pants pocket, you know, I think it's a great option. So this is the Acebeam Terminator 2, and I want to give a big shout out to CountyCom. So CountyCom is a website where you can get really cool items at affordable pricing. And I have a link. It's in the description. I also have a discount code. So I believe it's Lefty10, could be LeftyEDC. It's right in the description of this video. Find the 3 dots or look for the more button down there and you'll see it. And you get to save 10%. It helps your brother out. Kind of works out, right? But yeah, their prices are really good, and they were kind enough to send me this. So I reached out to them and said, hey, I want to check out some flashlights. I noticed you have some cool LEPs, and when I was over there, I noticed this, and I just said I would check one of these out, and they were just like, sure. They sent it over to me, so I really appreciate CountyCom. Want to make sure they get a shout out. But with that said, this was provided to me, so I did not pay for this. But I think after having used it and everything, if somehow it like got lost or something, I think I would probably pick one up because it's just super cool and unique. And that's what's awesome about it. It's really different, right? This guy is $140. So if you go over to their website, you'll see Compact Terminator M2 Dual Head LED Flashlight Limited Edition Acebeam exclusive. $139, but if you use my code, that'll save you 14 bucks. There was, I believe, see, it's a small batch run. Ooh, I believe they did a M1 as well. I don't know if that's bigger or just an older model, but yeah, this thing's pretty wild. I wasn't able to find the exact LED in here, and I'm not sure if they're listing that anywhere. But I do know that this one comes with a 6500K emitter in here. And there are 2 options as far as I can tell. This one is, see, there you go, cool white 6500, 3200 lumens, 178 meters. And you'll see at the end, I will throw in my testing footage. where you can see me, you know, using it outside, shining it at my neighbor's house and everything. But yeah, it says 7-color light automatic cycle mode, and we'll look into that. Maybe it's because it rotates or something like that. But I think they did make another version. I don't think CountyCom has it, but there is apparently a neutral white 5K version, CRI 90 with 2,000 lumens. So you get less lumens, but you get higher CRI, I assume. So let's just look at the construction, and then we'll get into how it functions. And of course, you'll see that test footage at the end. So this back here unscrews, and your battery kind of sits into it, which is kind of clever. It sits in like that. You have a USB-C rechargeable battery. This is a 3.6 volt, 11.2 watt hour, 18650, 3100 milliamp hour. I don't see anything here about max continuous discharge or anything. I did test my 18650 batteries in here, and I'll show you. I have a couple. I think these are Panasonic. I think this one is Panasonic. Not positive. I bought these on a recommendation from my buddy Artie. He was a flashlight nerd, so he knows better than I do. But anyway, this is a flat top, so I want to show you what happens. You can use a different 18650 in here, which is good. It's good to know that you could put your own battery in here, right? You'll see it kicks on, everything's fine, right? But there's a little bit of bounce in there, and that's because they made this, they designed it for their button top. And you can see how much longer that is. Well, you could if I showed it to you this way. Look how much longer that is. They had to build in the charge here, and this might be a protected cell. I'm not positive. Maybe somebody could tell us, but this might be a protected battery. But I'm thinking it's mostly just because of this added, they had to add in the charging port there, right? So let's try this one. This one is another 18650. But you can see, I mean, they have similar output or run times, 3100 there, 34 here, 3000 here. So this would give you the longest run time, I suppose. See if this one shakes. Much less. Shakes a little less. And works just as well. Now, you could probably, if you wanted to get all crazy, you could probably, you know, extend that spring a little somehow, pull it out or something, and then it would sit a little snugger. But it doesn't cause any issues. It's just they're not button tops, and they're not quite as long. So I just wanted to show you that you would be able to use your own battery. And then CountyCom actually sells a quad bay charger that I love. I have one here that I use to charge my batteries, and this will fit in there, no problem. You can see the way this works is it gauges it first, and then it'll show you the charge. That light flickering is just the camera. It's not doing that in real life. So give it a second, and then it'll pop up to probably 3 bars and start charging. There you go. So it's at 3 and charging that 4th one. So it's almost at 100%. So you can charge it that way, or you can just pop a USB-C in here, and there's a little red light here that will turn on. Let's see if this will work. I'll just show you. There's a little red light on top, and that will tell you when it's charging or it's charged. So I guess it has enough juice right now that it's calling it charged. So that is how you can charge this item. And then you just slot that in, screw this down. I like that. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like a flask or something. The switch is back here, your primary tail switch, and then you have your flood to spotlight switch down here. This one's magnetic, they say. So let's take a look at the spotlight first. So this has one setting on. You just turn it on and you get that beautiful hotspot. I mean, it is a beast. It throws really, really well. I compared it to this mini LEP I have in right now, which I'll do a video on probably next. And obviously completely different animals here. And this is not a full-size LEP, so, you know, there's probably way more powerful ones out there. But it was, I mean, it was keeping up with this. You know, it was going across my yard, across the cul-de-sac, behind the neighbor's house, and hitting the trees behind there pretty well. But you're getting a much bigger hotspot than you would on that LEP. So, you know, up to, I don't know, maybe 75 yards, 100 yards or something. This seems like, honestly, a really good option because you get that larger hotspot compared to an LEP. But that is the only mode you're going to get in Spotlight. You just on and off. Now, you can double click and nothing will happen. You can triple click and you'll get turbo Spotlight with a turbo flood. And yes, you cannot adjust the brightness from there. So you're just going full on turbo with that triple click. All right. That's Spotlight. It's fantastic. You'll see in the test footage. Pop it up to flood, and now these triple emitters are going to go to work. So what you'll see here is a very similar setup to what you see in sort of most of the custom flashlights I have. Triple emitter. Looks like a Carclo style optic. You even have the three little feet there that looks like you could put tritium in there, but I'm pretty sure your secondary or auxiliary lights are actually down in there. I think there's only one, but we'll take a look at that. Where this one has three auxiliaries and they're on the side next to those posts, if you can see that. Probably can't, but anyway, it kind of is a familiar setup for me, which is kind of cool. So with this, you turn it on. Let's get down to moonlight. So this is low or moonlight, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it's got a nice brightness. I can almost stare right at it, and it's not blinding me or anything. It's kind of my way of testing moonlight. You do have a colored indicator here for battery. So battery's green, obviously. Has a little battery indicator. Then you hold down and you cycle up. And this guy has 4 modes, I think. So that was 2, 3, 4 is pretty bright. It's supposed to be 3200 lumens on that. Double tap for turbo. And then again, triple tap. You get the Spotlight with the full turbo flood, which is pretty cool. So that is how you operate the light for flood and Spotlight. Now for auxiliary, there's some other things you can do with this light that are pretty cool. So if I hold down for a second, it's really more like 2 seconds in my opinion. So this is what they were talking about, 7-color rotating auxiliary. So you see that? There's purple, there's white, there's red, there's blue, there's green, yellow, whatever, right? So that's your 7-color rotating. It's very dim, and it actually is not coming from down there. It looks like it's coming from the center, behind the optics, which is pretty interesting. So just for testing purposes, let's turn the lights off. It'll take me a minute to kick them back on, but I think this will be good for us. There, that's enough. I have another light, but it's not, you can see pretty good now. So this is how you do that. And then you can hold down to cycle. So you have this rotating mode. Then you have red, solid. You have green, solid, which if you didn't notice, it's fairly brighter, it seems like. Green is the color that our eyes, humans, see the best on the spectrum. So it makes sense to me that green would be brighter. Blue is going to be similar, right? Not quite as much, but good. It's cool that it has all these because if you're hunting or camping or something like that, there could be uses for all of these. Red preserves your night vision. And I think it's good for like hunting. Animals can't see it or something. Green, you could just see really well. And then blue doesn't penetrate skin well. So when people are sleeping or something, you can move around and you're not going to penetrate their eyelids and wake them up. Then it goes to a green sort of beacon thing, which I noticed it blinks twice. There it goes again. The first time I did it, I swear it wasn't doing it again. It was just blinking once, and that was it. So there you go, 2 blinks every so often. And then it has one SOS mode. Pretty sure this is an SOS in red. And then hold down. And we're going back to red. So that's why I didn't notice that rotating one, because you can't go back to that mode apparently. You just cycle through these and then it goes back to red, see? But if I turn it off and then hold down for a second, that turned it on again. So you have to hold for like 2 seconds really. There it goes. Now it'll do the color shift. So that's how you get to that. It could be a little confusing because if you're just cycling, you're not going to get to it. So that's pretty cool that it has that feature, right? Let me kick the lights back on. There's also a lockout mode on the flashlight. So if you hold down for 3 seconds, it's going to go through on, color, and then it'll blink. So it blinked. Now I can't do anything. Nothing works. If I hold down for 3 seconds again, flashlight comes back on. I must have switched it to spotlight. So you can switch simultaneously while you're using the flashlight. Very, very cool flashlight. I mean, I'm impressed with this thing. So it comes in this box like this. You get, you know, the plasticky stuff. You get a little box like this. There's a USB A to C, a little lanyard, and some O-rings in here. And you get your manual, if anybody wants to pause and read. You also get a warranty card or thingamabobber Jimmy. You can register if you want. There's a lot of information here, so if you want to pause and read it, you can. I don't want to go through everything, but here's some of the numbers. 3,200 on turbo, drops to 1,200, then drops to 50. The one thing I want to note that was kind of interesting to me, so this says 178 meters. That's a lot of meters. Maybe I'm not gauging how far I'm looking in the testing, but I don't think it's that far. I think it's maybe a football field tops, which would be what, 100 meters? I think, right? You know, 100 yards is a football field, so it's close, you know, 110 meters or whatever. But the thing I want to note that was interesting was the red, green, blue auxiliary light. So look at the time. They're all half a lumen, but red is 383 hours, green is 437, and blue is 491. I wonder why you can get an extra 108 hours on blue versus red. So somehow red secondary just takes up more power. I don't know if my theory is that red, it comes on, it's a lower color, so they have to bump, even though it's half a lumen, they have to bump more power in to get it to half a lumen versus the blue. I mean, it's the only reason I can think of. So I just thought that was interesting. You even get 300 hours on that multicolor. It's kind of crazy. And you could do SOS for 1,042 hours. So that's kind of nice. 1194 on a signal. So if you were in trouble, you'd have a long time with that. Here's your operation. I think I covered all that. Press and hold for 1 sec, or for half a second to get moonlight. There's the flood and spotlight. Strobe on at the same time. So I didn't do that one, so that would be 4 taps. Sorry, so what's on? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. I think turbo I hit is just a double tap. Output selection, lock, unlock. Yep. I think we're good. All right. So there you go, guys. That's the Acebeam Terminator M2. I think it's awesome. Very sweet flashlight. Just unique. You know what I mean? And it kind of packs everything into one package. So if you're out there, you just want one light that covers you and does everything, you can throw it in your camp bag or whatever. I think this is phenomenal for that purpose. And I'm guessing these are selling really well for that reason. So check out CountyCom. Check out the link down below. I'd appreciate it. You get a discount if you use my code there. Thank you to CountyCom for sending this my way. I love you guys. Stay tuned for the test footage, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Guys, Kev here, and I'm out here checking out the Acebeam M2 Terminator. CountyCom was nice enough to send me this to check out, which is very kind of them. I have a link down in the description for you guys. I just noticed this. Is this a switch? No. What is that? It's just a thing. Oh, maybe it's a battery indicator. Sorry, it just kind of caught me off guard. And I got these charged up. I've tested them a little bit in the house and stuff and out here. And I don't know, just having a good time. So there's a link down below to CountyCom. You can use that and my code. I think it's Lefty10. You'll save 10%. Might be LeftyEDC, but either way, you'll save 10%. And they have good prices on really good products. They also sent me this Cosmos Mini LEP, and I'm really digging that too. I'll show you that one in a second. So the Terminator here has a switch on the back, and you have two modes. You have another switch here that cycles between flashlight or spotlight and flood. So you can switch back and forth depending on your needs, and then you can actually triple click and you'll get both, which is pretty sick. You get both like on high. Then it'll cut off when you turn it off and then back on to whichever mode you were on. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a battery indicator, sorry. So real quick, checking out flood mode. Here's the pool, 21-foot pool. It's winter right now. I mean, it's warm today, actually. It was like 50. But we just had a snowstorm and ice and shit, so anyway, here's the pool. This is on low, and then you can cycle, or no, it's medium. If you hold down, you can cycle up. And you can see, I mean, that's pretty dang bright right there. This has a triple emitter setup, so it's basically set up like the custom lights I have. I'm guessing it's going to put out a little bit more lumens than that, but same kind of setup with the triple emitter optic and everything. Really floody light. The whole backyard here is pretty lit up. Well, at least, you know, this side. I have another side over here. But yeah, I mean, that looks pretty good. And then back to, this is moonlight or low. And then if we toggle to spotlight, I mean, this is very spotlighty. Now, this is a traditional, I believe, TIR setup. I guess that's not traditional, but meaning to say it's not an LEP, I believe. I believe it would be a lot smaller if it was, but it's just like a really cool looking setup here. Some of this stuff looks blue on camera. That's not blue in real life. It's normal color in real life, like a white, cool white, just so you know. So I'm hitting that tree right there. That's about, I don't know, 50 feet away from me, 40 feet away. I can move over to that tree over there, my neighbor's tree. And this only has one mode, by the way. I can't cycle this to low or high or anything. So you just get spotlight. And it actually reaches the trees behind his house over there, but just barely is lighting them up. I mean, I could see, but it's not like the same as that, right? That's really lit up. That's not so much. This one's right closer. So you're probably talking about like 50 feet. And then over there is probably like, I don't know, man, 100, 200 feet or something. And then back there is probably like 300 feet, maybe 100 meters, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's got a big old hotspot. I mean, look at that. It's quite huge, as they say. So yeah, this thing's pretty wild. It's really cool. And then if you hit the triple, boom, you get hit with everything. How wild is that? I mean, hit those trees over there and flood the whole area. So this is definitely a sweet one to have. It's a bit bulky though, I will say that, but you get both in one. So, you know, there's a look at the optics. I'm sure I showed you in the video. Pretty cool setup. Looks like it uses a traditional Carc Glow optic, so you might be able to even put like tritium in there or something if you were able to, you know, get this off and get in there or whatever. And there's your spotlight setup. I think it's just a LED sitting down and then nice long reflector or whatever TIR setup. I'll look into all that for the review. This is just to show you how it functions outside. Battery check there, 18650. That does remove, and you can charge with a USB-C. I tested my own 18650 flat top. It did fit, but it was a little rattly when I did this because it's set up for a button top for their battery. But just want to point out that it does work. Pretty cool stuff, guys. What is that green? It's just like catching the light. So that's the Acebeam Terminator M2. So I think I'm going to do a separate one here for the LEP. So love you guys. Hope you have a great day. Peace.